Hey, MGTOWs. Just got back from breakfast. the It's Saturday, and the dining area was the buffet down there was just freaking packed, and there were a lot of Americans and and aging American couples, and I was strutting around with my with my no wife, no strife shirt. I got at least 6 really good scowls. Oh, it was good. ah, I love it. And walked into the elevator with 3 chicks, and said good morning politely and everything. And then when the door opened, they apparently wanted me to say, "After you, ladies. After you, my goodness. After you, because you are worth so much more than I am." And instead I just poof immediately walked out the door. And one of them said, as I was walking away, because they won't say it to your face, they said, "Ladies first." I just went, ah, yeah. It's the current year, and the shit that they have pulled has reached the point where nice guys, I'm a friggin' nice guy, are now done with them. I'm fucking done. I am friggin' done with them. So, other than that, I got my big, huge cancer plan from the Cancer Center, and I'm going to read through it this morning and see what they have to offer and determine what I want. And if I want them to, because I've already been through something similar to that over at Hope for Cancer, but their equipment is a lot better here, especially especially the hyperthermia chamber, where they use steam to really push your body temperature up. Whereas at Hope for Cancer, they just put you in this sauna. They called it the pizza oven. You laid down in the thing and you get heated up that way. And they measure your temperature, which is stupid as can be. They measure your temperature with an infrared temperature probe, or something that measures your skin temperature. They use 2 different things, and measuring your skin temperature is friggin' pointless. You've got to measure your core body temperature, and the steam chamber over at the Cancer Center here, they actually measure your core body temperature, and they actually that's the way it really needs to be done. Boy, is it gonna suck to be in that freaking thing, though. It is going to suck. But because the saunas were bad enough, man. But when I'm in the steam chamber and my temp goes up to like 104, that's going to be rough. But that'll do the trick. That is, according to a lot of research, unless you go to the corporate research in the U.S., where the corporate oncologists that are just pushing chemo and whatnot, those people, they're not on board with this. But scientific evidence, multiple news articles, whatnot, talk about how fever temperatures cause cancerous tumors to break down. So that's what I'm going to really decide. I'm going to have to give it some thought. I'm going to see if I can determine whether I want to do that first, and then see if I can get that surgery, the hypertherapy. Because, man, I don't know if I want to do the liver surgery, where they heat up your liver tumors, because both the ultrasound at Hope for Cancer and the PET scan both concur that the inner parts of the tumors in my liver are dead. And they seem to be surrounded by a sort of a Ziploc bag of living cancer cells that seem to be blocking my body from breaking down the dead tumor material on the inside. So if, considering how big the surface area of those liver tumors are, I'm thinking that that it would be very accessible to things like the low dose chemo, which they can provide, and the all the other treatments plus the hypertherapy, vitamin C, Laetrile, vitamin B17 IVs, and boy, I'm a big proponent of the vitamin C megadose IVs. When that friggin' commie dumb douchebag Inslee in Washington State, when he closed down the state, the IV room in the naturopath office closed, and then I was no longer able for like 3 months, or maybe something like 4, to get my vitamin C megadose IVs. And even though I went heavy on everything else, and even Rick Simpson oil, I mean, I took enough freaking marijuana in that Rick Simpson oil. I would take enough every day, just enough so that I wouldn't barf it up. But sometimes I would overestimate, and I would end up throwing it up into the toilet at like 3 a.m. That was a pain in the butt. But during that time, even though I maxed out on everything else I could think of, my cancer numbers tripled. What they call a CEA test, it measures all the cancer debris floating around your blood system. And during that time, sorry, I was just thinking that lady's face, that woman's face. I won't even call her a woman. She was just a scowly old 45, 50-year-old bat who was parasiting on this guy who was with her at the table. And she looked at me, and it looked like she had accidentally taken a bite of dog shit. And I just laughed as I walked by. And man, her scowl was enough to to power a small city as far as like energy goes. And she'll probably berate and beat on her husband because of that. So, and one awesome thing about, one awesome thing, if you want to call it awesome, about having cancer is that it scared me bad enough that I lost 90 pounds, and that I seem to be conventionally good looking for like a guy in his 50s, right? So women in their 50s, that really hits home for them, and they just now, of course, women in their 20s and whatnot, they just go whatever, but they just look a little irritated. But boy, that lady, oh man, I wouldn't call her a lady. That woman, a woman has to earn the title of lady because it's a badge of honor. I mean, she behaves like a lady. She's polite. She doesn't ride the cock carousel. She doesn't cheat. She behaves decently and politely and honorably to her husband if she's married, and that is a lady, right? But a scowly old bat who probably cheats and is about ready to ass launch her husband out of the family, that's a woman. She's just a friggin' woman. She has not earned the title of lady. Okay, but back to the cancer thing. It's amusing because I seem to be conventionally good looking for a guy in his 50s. And I was like walking around with chest out and whatnot. I emptied my colostomy bag before I went down there, so it was like flat against my stomach and not really noticeable. But basically, yeah, it was satisfying. and walking out of the elevator and leaving the three women standing there because they were obviously on vacation by themselves because they couldn't get a guy to subsidize their vacation, so they all went by themselves. how sweet that is. But back to the cancer thing. Let's see, where was I about the cancer thing? Oh yeah. So I don't know about the liver tumors are apparently dead on the inside, and the surface area exposed on the outside with the tumors is so great compared to their overall mass as if the entire tumor was alive, right? That if I take that low dose chemo and the vitamin B17, the megadose IVs of vitamin C, and all the other stuff, right? If I take all of that, it's quite conceivable that my body can start knocking the layer, that little baggie that contains the tumor, right? It could knock it down to the point where it's the dead material is then exposed, and then my immune system can get in there and really start breaking down that dead material and carrying it away, and then the living cancerous material, whatever's left on the outside, won't have any like support. It'll be like flushed around and unable to really maintain its integrity. I could make a lot of progress on those liver tumors with this routine, and all the other tumors. The liver tumors are freaking fairly large. They're like, I mean, I saw the pictures. The liver is like as wide as my chest almost, right? And then the liver tumors, they seem to be, kind of like maybe an inch or so. If what I saw on the pictures can be understood, because I am not a radiologist by any means, but even I can see that they appear to be like less than an inch, across, and they're dead on the inside. So if I can knock those down, then those other tumors are smaller, and I think I might just go with the program that they're offering, and then push it through, and then depending on how much it costs, I don't want to get raped too badly. I'm not going to be paying $50,000 like I did at Hope for Cancer. God, what a rip-off that was. I mean, they got some good stuff going there, but it's amateurish, right? Whereas this place, they are much more professional and much more medical, and they offer a lot of conventional medical, whereas Hope for Cancer is almost entirely just alternative, and they don't really offer things like low dose chemo and stuff like that, So I'm thinking, I think on Monday, when I go in, because they're closed now, they're open like a half a day on Saturdays, but I'm thinking that I might just go with their program, and I'm going to add to it though, because I've read more than once, and most recently on my most recent video, one of our MGTOW brothers was kind enough to provide a link to an article where they were talking about how exercise also really helps laboratory rats knock down tumors as well, because they basically had rats exercising, and then they basically, and then compared it to the rats that didn't exercise, and the tumors in the rats that exercised shrank, and that's all they did was exercise, right? So I am absolutely going to take advantage of that, and I've got an appointment for the gym in a couple hours, So once my buffet breakfast settles, I'll be able to go hit that friggin' treadmill hard. But they've also got other equipment in there, like that thing where you push and pull the levers, and as well as with your legs, um, and basically, I might consider doing that. I mean, I'm not supposed to really do a lot of lifting or anything until I'm healed, but that could take like another half a month, right? If I'm to be healed from the conventional, colostomy surgery, right? Man, so many choices, and people wonder, our MGTOW brothers so often remark about how positive I am, emotionally about about the whole cancer thing. And man, I gotta say, I really gotta say that when I, 2 years ago, when it looked like I was in serious danger of retiring on Bitcoins, and I didn't have a plan for what to do. And I was like thinking, man, what do I do? What the heck do I do? I really had no idea. It's like, what do I do with all my time? And it's like, and I'm like, and I went to like Cambodia. God, what a disaster that was. My social anxiety on top of an absolutely alien environment. Oh man, what a bad combination that was. But anyway, basically, man, I was crippled over there. But here, when everybody's speaking Spanish, I can catch like words here and there, and I can pick up a lot from context, and I can pick up a lot because the words are so similar, like, well, I won't give any examples. I can't think of any, but there are so many words that are so similar to U.S. English that, man, I feel almost at home here. And basically the Mexicans, here, they're basically like me, It's like they're not tremendously alien the way the Cambodians were. I mean, they were just way different, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying. And my God, the traffic, even crossing a street was like taking your life, placing your life into somebody else's hands. Wow, what a crazy place that was. But I was in fear because I was wondering, what the heck am I going to do with all my time, But now, as bad as cancer is, and cancer really does suck, and it's dangerous as can be, and but it is a complicated and very interesting project, and since I don't really have that big, huge fear of dying that so many people have, that it makes it takes away so much of the fear that what's left is like, it's almost like a gigantic toy, it's like a gigantic chessboard or a gigantic Jenga game, or and it's like, I don't know who I'm playing against, but I am definitely playing a game. And it is so sad the way this crazy YouTube censorship is going, because I had a freaking golden comment, a freaking amazing, awesome comment showing up in my notifications I think the guy's name was Snail something, you know, but all I saw was the first half of the comment in the notifications, and and the guy was saying something like, "I can't believe your attitude, you know, I can't believe how positive you are about this," and he ended up saying, "You really don't give a fuck, do you?" And sad as can be, freaking YouTube deleted that comment. But that comment was gold. I loved it. And I was looking around and looking around for it, and I couldn't find it. And man, it's so sad when YouTube does that to us. So, yeah, if you're out there, Mr. Snail, I can't remember your name, you know, if you happen to be out there, feel free to repost that comment and just put some stars or something in with the obscenities and see if you can get it through, because I'd love to see that comment. So I think I'll take a walk around the neighborhood, maybe hit a local store, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna hit that friggin' treadmill hard. I'm gonna bring my heart rate up, and I'm gonna bring it up to the point where it's like pounding in my chest. And that is when you can shrink cancer. And I've got all the cancer medications in my system now because of breakfast, including something my naturopath put me on. It is called U-tip, right? And they're like yew trees, you know, which are basically a pine tree that they use to make, in the past, they used to make bows and arrows out of them. And the ends of those the tips of the little green parts of the tree, you know, when the new growth is harvested and placed in those capsules. And it's very similar to chemo in a way. You know, it's like a really, really weak version of chemo. And when you combine that with this sulfur stuff, this MSM sulfur, it's got this big long chemical name if you want to read it. But basically, if you combine those two, that is supposedly very effective against cancer. And all of that is in my system all now, especially once my breakfast settles and becomes available into my bloodstream. And then when I hit that treadmill really hard, all of those medications and the mega doses of C that I take, for example, I take liposomal vitamin C. I'm almost out. I'm going to have to switch to my other bottle. But basically, I take 2 of these with every meal. But I wouldn't recommend that to a non-cancer person. But for me, I can take 2 of these with every meal, and it doesn't upset my stomach. Whereas a lot of people might have a problem with that. But I think that all that vitamin C is part of what makes me feel so freaking good. I mean, I feel like $1,000,000 right now. Plus all the caffeine from breakfast is hitting my system. And basically, yeah, I feel like $1,000,000. I'd never know that I had freaking cancer all over the place. So basically, so that's where I am right now. So I really should make outlines of what I want to talk about before I make a video. So anyway, instead I just hit the record and let it spew. So MGTOWs, that's about all I got for you, I think, for now. Just like, you know, like a little flashback, that scowly, fat, ugly, old, horrible, bitchy ass, late middle-aged woman with her husband saw my t-shirt, and she just like like she accidentally picked up a Rottweiler turd and accidentally took a bite. It's like, nah, you know, it's like she really was not liking what I was wearing. So that was pleasant. Okay, MGTOWs, that's about all I got for you. I'm gonna go take a walk and don't get married.